This video features the best brawlers you need to be playing in the July ranked season. These brawlers typically aren't banned, so if they are open, you need to be picking them. Alright guys, the first brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Carl. Now of course, one of the best parts about Carl's kit is going to be his super. This gives him excellent mobility to close gaps, escape danger, and initiate attacks, and this makes him pretty unpredictable and hard to catch. His super also allows him to navigate through obstacles, making him especially useful in maps with tight spaces or when engaging enemies in tricky positions. Now everybody talks about how good Carl's super is, but his main attack is another great part to his mechanics. Carl's main attack has great range and a unique curved trajectory, allowing him to hit enemies around obstacles. This makes him effective at controlling areas and attacking from a distance, even when enemies are behind cover. The ability to attack from different angles and over obstacles gives Carl a tactical advantage, and this makes him a reliable threat in both open and cluttered maps. Now probably one of my favorite parts about Carl's kit is going to be his protective pirouette star power. Carl's star power reduces incoming damage when he's spinning, boosting his survivability. This makes him more durable in combat, allowing him to stay in fights longer and handle multiple enemies, especially in team battles. With protective pirouette, Carl can dive into enemy lines, take damage, and still dish out significant hits, and this makes him a resilient force in both offense and defense. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be B. Now B's super is unbelievably clutch when needing to hit your shots. Usually most brawlers are fast enough to be able to dodge B's shots, right? However, upon hitting a brawler with her super, it is possible to auto-aim them down very quickly without aiming, because the brawler is going to be slowed down and unable to move fast enough to dodge your shots. Keep in mind that brawlers with movement speed boosts from star powers or supers might still be able to dodge auto-aim shots. Now unfortunately, B only has one bar of ammo and she has low health, so she can still be ambushed pretty easily by aggressive brawlers. It is advised not to stay too close to bushes that cover a large area, because close range brawlers and assassins can be great counters and can inflict lots of burst damage if they have been bush camping or behind nearby walls. And then when you throw in assassins in the mix, like they can dodge your shots easily with their fast movement speed or their fast supers. Now one of the reasons why B is going to be a great pick aside of rank is because she's a great anti-tank brawler. Since most tanks are close range, in order to deal effective damage, they would have to be up and close and personal with the other team. B's slowing super and gadget can be effective in this place, and she's able to shoot them down without getting hurt herself. However, a lot of tanks have supers or gadgets that can allow them to travel a distance, therefore closing the gap up with B. In this case, it would be a good idea to team her up with a brawler that can protect her if she is threatened. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Byron. Now Byron doesn't have a lot of health, so you want to use his long range main attacks to keep you distance. To take advantage of Byron's range is to chip away at enemies with this stacking tick damage while also dodging their fire. Once they're low on health, you can use your super to finish them off. The great thing is that your super is a lobbing attack, so it can be thrown a good distance, but more importantly, over walls and obstacles if you need to. Now if you think about it, one of the better parts about playing Byron instead of ranked is that he's easier to play than some of the other long range brawlers in the game. Since Byron's range is long but his cooldown is slow, sharpshooting skills such as aiming ahead of the enemy's direction of travel are needed to utilize Byron well. However, with his fast projectile speed, aiming with Byron is easier than with other long-range brawlers like Nani or Brock. Now after all these months and inside of the current meta, Byron is still going to be a great pick to play on ladder or even inside of ranked. Byron's long range, high tick damage, and healing abilities truly shine in team events. This is mostly because he can consistently heal his teammates while they work towards the event objective, with the healing giving more ease. In addition, he's also effective at preventing enemies from healing, and this makes it easier to cripple the enemy team. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Bull. Now Bull is the strongest he's ever been because of the rework to his super. Bull's super allows him to charge a very long distance in any direction, destroying all obstacles in his way. Since Bull can deal maximum damage when he's close to his target, this ability can be used for getting Bull close enough to the enemies to defeat them. Make sure to aim your super correctly and predict the enemy's movement so you can reach the enemy properly to defeat them, or use his stomper gadget to get as close as possible to the enemy. Now probably one of the underrated ways of using Bull's super is when you need to play passively so you can stay alive. Bull's super can also come in handy when Bull needs to escape from enemies if in danger, mostly because of his super's long charging distance, which is going to be useful in game modes like Bounty when overwhelmed by enemies. However, he's not impervious to damage while charging, so beware of incoming projectiles. Now this is kind of a no-brainer, but I can't believe I have to still tell people this, but you need to be playing Bull on maps with lots of walls and bushes. Bull can deal a lot of damage when he's within close quarters of his target and has high health, but can't deal maximum damage when he isn't close. Take advantage of bushes, obstacles, or thin choke points to ambush and defeat enemies. Therefore, in more open areas or maps, try to dodge enemy attacks. Bull has a higher movement speed than most brawlers, so you can rush enemies and avoid their attacks more easily. It's ideal to dodge enemy attacks and not tank damage, as that allows enemies to quickly charge their supers. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Willow. Now Willow's main attack gives her powerful zone control by leaving behind puddles that deal damage over time. This makes it extremely difficult for opponents to push through narrow areas or hold key zones, especially in game modes like Hot Zone or Gem Grab. The lingering effect of her attack forces enemies to either take chip damage or reposition, and this gives Willow and her team a clear strategic edge in controlling space and pacing fights. Now another reason why Willow's going to be good inside of rank is because of her super. At this point, it's kind of like a Walmart version of Charlie's super, where you can use something to either stop the enemy or sabotage them, but that's what makes both supers so good. Being able to shut down any aggressive brawler as long as you have your super makes her deadly to get up and close against. Now a tip that I do want to share about Willow's super is make sure that you're using it on the right type of brawlers. Now we all know Willow's super is good in many ways, however the super will also fully heal the enemy hit by it, so try to mind control glass cannon brawlers such as Piper or Colt rather than tanky brawlers such as Primo or Frank. You don't want those types of brawlers to heal back up to full health because it's going to be that much harder to take them down. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Lou. Now Lou's frost mechanic is one of the most annoying things about his kit. Lou's frost can freeze the enemy team, in which when playing certain 3v3 game modes like Gem Grab, it can give Lou and his team a huge advantage. In Gem Grab, he can freeze the enemy gem carrier, and the gem carrier will be prone to defeat. With this super and his super cool star power, it will become riskier for the enemy team to collect gems while allowing Lou and his allies to collect gems with ease, mostly because enemies are more vulnerable to being stunned and defeated while on the gem mine. Not just in general, whether if you're playing ladder or you're playing ranked, Lou's super is going to be so good to counter many of the top brawlers in the game. Since his super makes enemies slow down and makes maneuvering much harder, enemies will attempt to escape by moving in the same direction, which makes attacks easier to hit and enemy movements to be more predictable. With his super cool star power, this is better justified and more frivolous to enemies, mostly because if they're stacked with the attacks and super, they'll be quickly stunned and defeated, not to mention they'll also have trouble maneuvering around the ice. Now of course we can't forget about Lou just having an incredibly disgusting build as well. Lou's frost is already devastating to enemies because it stuns them, but with Lou's Kraus syrup gadget and hypothermia star power, Lou can make his super more deadly because Kraus syrup can either freeze them instantly, leaving them vulnerable to lure teammates, or increase their frost high enough such that hypothermia's damage debuff is significant. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Jae-Young. Now Jae-Young is so good in rank because of his ability to switch between work mode and party mode. In work mode, he increases the movement speed of nearby allies, which is especially valuable for initiating pushes, escaping danger, or controlling zones quickly. Party mode on the other hand provides steady healing to nearby teammates, allowing teammates to stay alive during drawn out fights. This dual functionality makes him a powerful support pick across various game modes like Gem Grab, Hot Zone, and Knockout. Now since Jae-Young is a support brawler, you need to prioritize healing your teammates above all. An amateur mistake I always see is that people not only play Jae-Young like a damage dealer, but any support brawler like a damage dealer. Your job as a support brawler is to support your teammates. Whether the situation calls for a speed boost or an instant heal, you need to prioritize that first and foremost, especially with a brawler like Jae-Young. Now probably one of the most unique things about Jae-Young's kit is that his super recharges every 6 seconds automatically. This constant uptime means he can reliably support his team, either by speeding them up with work mode or healing them up over time with party mode, depending on eliminations or risky plays. It also gives him incredible consistency with long matches or objective heavy game modes like Hot Zone and Gem Grab, where maintaining pressure and control is key to victory. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Charlie. Now Charlie is super meta now because their main attack range was increased. Supercell recently buffed Charlie's main attack range back to 9 tiles from 8.33, and this extension is a big deal. It lets her reliably poke and pressure from mid-range without overexposing herself, which was one of her key weaknesses. This adjustment restores much of her former presence while keeping her balance, and now she dominates zoning while staying safe. Now yes, definitely one of the best aspects to Charlie's entire kit is going to be her super. Charlie's Cocoon super provides not just crowd control, but also protection because she can intercept enemy rushers like tanks or assassins to peel them off from their team. Her Spider's gadget helps her track down enemies or protect against dangerous flankers. In modes with objective tanks or high mobility threats, she can cancel enemy supers, clear lanes, or lock down targets effectively. Now yes, even though Charlie's Spider's gadget, or Spiders in general, is just nerfed into the ground A, is still good for creating pressure. Charlie's Spider's gadget sends out small spiders that chase enemies and force them to back off or waste ammo. Combined with her Pestilence hypercharge, which boosts her spider swarm and adds extra effects, she becomes incredibly annoying to deal with. The spiders can break up tight team formations, control choke points, and help push enemies off objectives, which gives your team better control of the map. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Gus. Gus is one of the top support brawlers in the meta because he provides both healing and shielding, keeping his teammates alive during critical moments. His burst can heal allies from a distance, and his super grants a massive shield to himself or a teammate, absorbing huge amounts of incoming damage. This mix of passive healing and protective utility makes Gus one of the most reliable backline supports in team-based modes. Now of course Gus's super can come in clutch when he himself is in a very tight spot. His super is best used on assassins with lower health, as they can get close to the enemies with less risk of dying quickly and are able to wipe out the entire team. This could be a very effective strategy in game modes such as Brawl Ball and gives your team enough time to easily score the ball. Now I know it's not talked about a lot, but Health Bonanza is also a very good star power, but I mean it's still not going to be better than Spirit Animal. When playing offensively, use his Spirit Animal star power to gain a damage boost when in a tight situation. This can allow Gus to finish off the enemies much easier. If playing supportively, using the Health Bonanza star power will also heal teammates a lot more. But let's be honest here, 99% of the time you want to be using Spirit Animal because it's just better in most situations. Alright guys, the next brawler we're going to be talking about is going to be Shade. Now the whole reason why Shade is at the top of the list is because of his new hypercharge, the Frightener. Shade's hypercharge enhances his main attack to deal maximum damage no matter where you hit the enemy, and this makes it easier to control space and pin down enemies. This boost turns Shade into an even bigger threat in team fights, forcing opponents to play cautiously. It greatly improves his ability to zone and pressure key areas in ranked modes. Now Shade is a very good brawler because brawlers that can like attack through walls right now are just very meta at the moment. The best way to use Shade's super is to pressure enemies by dashing into and hiding in a wall nearby them. Most enemies are unable to hit Shade for as long as it stands in the wall, allowing you to freely damage and push them back. However, be wary of enemies that can outrange you and still hit you in more opened up lanes. Well, anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that video, I highly recommend you guys go check out this video right here.